Well, the first thing you should know is that no one represents you. Your broker is not your broker. They are the broker for United Healthcare. They are the broker for the PBM. They work for the carrier. The carriers typically are owned by private equity. They have their own EBITDA, and they're less concerned about your EBITDA and your people than you are. So no one represents the employer in this equation, and know that going in. If you're not following that aggressive procurement process, which is very similar to a fiduciary process, right? Get all your data, get all your information, investigate, interpret, implement and install things, and don't pay unreasonable fees for services rendered. Don't overpay. That is essentially a fiduciary process. Now it's on behalf of the participants. So if you decided as a plan sponsor or an employer from a plan design standpoint to have any type of deductible copay or co-insurance, either healthcare or PBM, you are now taking your participants' money. That is, and then you have the duty to monitor all of those decisions. You now have the not only the roles and responsibility of a fiduciary for those choices and to monitor those decisions, you now have the liability associated with making the wrong decisions, the imprudent decisions, and disgorging your participants because you have been asleep at the wheel. You have been listening to conflicted advice, and therefore, as you're overpaying on that portion of that benefit, so are your people by extension. Every employer that's self-insured really has that risk and that liability. It just takes one. You don't need, if you have 500 employees, you don't need 100 or 200 to create class. You need one person who represents the class, and then they're all pulled in, and then the math multiplies. Times your number of employees, times the number of years you want to look back, and therein lies the damages that you could incur. 30% of the entire industry is waste, fraud, and abuse. Waste, fraud, and abuse. Over treatment, over payment, and then when you're overcharged and your Alice employee gets a $10,000 bill that should have been $400 and they can't afford it, there's your time bomb. But also know that now you have a set of tools to fight back and defend yourself and actually get proactive that you've never had before. So there's hospital transparency. Obamacare and Affordable Care are different, right? That was Obama. Then under Trump, he passed Hospital Transparency Act and the Transparency and Coverage Act, very similar to separate, very similar nomenclature. And then the third was the Consolidated Appropriations Act, or the CAA. You have legislation between these three laws to ask questions, demand answers, and if you don't get them, then you have recourse, which you've never had before. So know that you can armor up, I guess is the best way to say it, whereas before you were pretty helpless.